Welcome to the Explainer. So let's jump right in. If you've ever woken up with this heavy, just completely unexplained sense of dread, or if you're walking around with a constant humming burnout that you just can't seem to shake no matter how much you sleep, I want to validate you right out of the gate here. What you're experiencing is almost certainly a biological reality. It is not a personal failing. Today, we're unpacking the really fascinating science of how our earliest experiences literally wire our nervous systems, and much more importantly, how we can actually rewire them.
So the crucial question we really have to ask right at the start is this. Why can't we just use willpower to overcome stress? Think about it. Why do all those mind-setting hacks, the positive affirmations, the sheer grit, why do they consistently fail to break these invisible cycles of exhaustion? We try so hard to just think our way out of feeling stuck, right? But we still end up completely drained.
Well, the answer is a bit of a gut punch, honestly. Your body is likely trapped in a fight or flight response. See, we've been taught to think of trauma as just a specific, terrible event that happens to us. But the scientific research proves that trauma is actually your body's internal biological response to that stress. And here is the truly wild part. That response can stay switched on for decades, meaning there's absolutely no amount of willpower that can outwork your biology. If your internal alarm system is just constantly blaring, you can't exactly politely ask it to turn off.
Okay, Section 1, the science of ACEs. To really grasp what's going on inside us, we have to look at the groundbreaking work of Dr. Nadine Burke Harris. She's a Stanford-trained pediatrician who literally pioneered the connection between childhood stress and adult biological health. She coined the term ACEs, adverse childhood experiences. We're talking about early life stressors, things like a parent's divorce, emotional neglect, or maybe growing up with a parent who has a mental health disorder. Dr. Burke Harris explains that the younger you are, the more these experiences literally shape how your stress response is wired. The stress from these events physically alters the way your DNA is read and transcribed, which is crazy to think about. It means that even if your conscious mind has completely forgotten the event, your body remembers it on a deep cellular level. Okay, let's dive into this data for a second, because it completely shatters the illusion that this is some rare phenomenon. A massive 2/3 of the population carry at least one ACE. That is the vast majority of people you interact with every single day, just walking around with a biologically altered stress response. It is incredibly common. But then we have to look at this heavier, honestly shocking statistic. 1 in 6 people have experienced 4 or more ACEs. For that 1 in 6, their biological baseline has been profoundly and permanently altered. Their internal alarm system has basically been dialed all the way up since childhood, which makes everyday functioning require significantly more effort.
Section 2, the stress teeter-totter.
So to understand why some of us feel constantly stuck while others seem to just breeze through challenges, Dr. Burke Harris uses this brilliant analogy. I want you to imagine your stress response is a teeter-totter on a playground. On one side, you've got stress and adversity. On the other side, you have buffering. These are things like safe relationships, supportive adults, and self-regulation. Now, normally, the fulcrum, that pivot point in the middle, is perfectly centered. But if you experienced major stress when you were very young and your brain was highly plastic, that fulcrum physically moves. It shifts over, making the adversity side much longer and much heavier. And because of that shifted fulcrum, you now require massive amounts of buffering on the other side just to stay balanced on a completely normal day.
To make this deeply relatable, the source material shares this really powerful anecdote from podcaster Mel Robbins. For 30 years, Mel would wake up every single morning with this intense, suffocating sense of dread. She felt like someone was mad at her or something was horribly wrong, even on a beautiful, perfectly sunny day. Through learning this science, she realized her body was simply remembering the morning after a traumatic event in the 4th grade that she had totally buried for decades. She was constantly trying to just mindset her way out of it, but her biology was hijacked. Her teeter-totter was completely off balance. It just proves how a stuck biology can hijack your focus no matter what is actually happening in your present reality.
Section 3, the 5-minute biological reset. But look, we are definitely not going to leave you stuck there. It's time to talk about an empowering, totally actionable solution so we can finally move that biological fulcrum back to center. Dr. Burke Harris outlines this really beautiful method she calls I Am Here. Step 1. You start every day with just 5 minutes of calm. This could be meditation, journaling, or literally just breathing quietly. Step 2. By creating that calm start, you establish a baseline, which makes it much easier to actually notice when your stress spikes later in the day.
And step 3, when you do notice that spike, you actively tell your nervous system, I am here. This simple 5-minute morning practice provides a profound corrective experience. You're basically giving yourself the buffering you might have missed as a child, clearly signaling to your nervous system that you are finally safe.
And this brilliantly illustrates our toolkit. Alongside that 5-minute reset, science gives us 7 evidence-based interventions to downregulate your biological stress response. Ready? They are sleep, exercise, nutrition, mindfulness, mental health support, healthy relationships, and time in nature. Now, listen to me closely here. You do not have to tackle all of these at once, okay? That would just cause way more stress. Just pick one. Start with a 5-minute walk in nature, or maybe just commit to going to bed 30 minutes earlier. These are the tools you use to stack the buffering side of your teeter-totter.
I absolutely love this profound quote from Dr. Burke Harris. Infrastructure is love in action. Setting up these tools, your sleep schedule, your 5-minute morning reset, your daily walk, that is building your infrastructure. You have to build these systems of support before the wheels fall off the cart, right? Providing yourself with this infrastructure is literally the ultimate act of self-love. It's the proof that no matter what happened in your past, your biology can truly adapt, balance, and heal.
Which leaves us with this final vital question. Will you take the 5-minute reset tomorrow morning? Seriously, I want to challenge you right now. Tomorrow morning, before you check your phone, before you let the stress of the whole day flood in, give yourself 5 minutes. Notice your breathing. Tell your nervous system, I am here, I am safe. It's time to stop shaming yourself for feeling exhausted and start empowering yourself by working with your biology instead of against it. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Now go out there and move that fulcrum.